Yo, what is up, fam? It's your boy Legend, and I am back with another video. You already know what this is just by looking at the thumbnail. What if Naruto was forced to go back in time? Part 4. Now, if you guys like this video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. As usual, the like goal for today's video is going to be 5 likes. Give me that 5 likes, and you'll get another part faster than usual. And you guys already know I've been bumping these videos out on a consistent basis. These videos have just been flying out like paper in a fax machine. But that's besides the point. Without further ado, let's just get into this intro so we can start this what if.
Give me space, I'm protective. My adrenaline spikes when I'm threatened. And if you stay in my way, I'm aggressive. Cause when there's no exit, I'll kill when I'm desperate.
The sky over Konoha was painted in hues of soft amber and pale blue as the sun dipped behind the Hokage monument. The village bustled with evening activity, vendors closing shop, shinobi returning from missions, and children being called home by worried mothers. But on the western edge of the village, in a quieter, more affluent district where the shinobi elite often resided, a quiet event was unfolding that would shift the tide of fate once more. Naruto Uzumaki stood still, eyes scanning the polished floorboards of his new apartment. The scent of cedar wood and freshly polished tile lingered in the air, mixed with the faint fragrance of lavender from the incense stick Kurenai had left burning outside her door. "Nice place," Yugito said from behind him, stepping through the open door with her arms crossed and her hips cocked slightly in amusement. "Bit too neat for you, don't you think?" Naruto gave a short exhale of amusement. "Guess the old man didn't want me living in another hole in the wall." He glanced around. The space was large, more than necessary for one shinobi. A modern style apartment with clean wooden paneling, a full kitchen, 2 bedrooms, a living area, and even a small balcony that overlooked a courtyard garden. It was the kind of place Anbu captains or Jonin commanders might be assigned, not someone who had just appeared out of nowhere a few days ago. But Hiruzen had his reasons. "And right next to Kurenai Sensei too?" Yugito noted, peeking out the window. "Coincidence?" "Doubt it," Naruto muttered, his tone flat. Yugito didn't pry. She was observant, had to be, given her background, but she wasn't intrusive. She'd found him when he was at his lowest, and for that, Naruto allowed her closer than he did most people. They had an unspoken understanding, one forged through mutual grief, shared purpose, and endless silent nights of watchfulness. Naruto grabbed a scroll from the floor, unsealed a few essentials, beddings, towels, some extra clothes, and tossed them onto the couch. Then he turned to her. "While I go talk to the Hokage, can you stock this place with food and supplies, basics, rice, protein, maybe some tea or coffee? You want it by chakra signature or calorie count, or just regular groceries?" She smirked. "Surprise me." With a nod, Yugito stepped past him and out into the fading light, pulling her hood and blending into the growing evening crowd. Naruto took one last look around the apartment. The silence was oppressive, almost clinical. The place lacked history. No scuffed walls, no mismatched plates, no accidental burn marks in the kitchen from ramen overboiling. It wasn't a home yet, just a shelter, a checkpoint on a path he hadn't chosen to walk again. He sighed, drew his cloak tighter, and vanished in a silent flicker of a sunshin. Scene change, Hokage's office. The Hokage Tower loomed in the fading twilight like a sentinel. Warm light glowed through the high windows, and inside the top floor, the air was still, thick with age and the scent of parchment, ink, and tobacco smoke. Hiruzen Sarutobi sat behind his wide desk, shoulders slightly hunched. His weathered hands clasped before him. Age had softened his once iron posture, but his eyes, those calculating, fire-hardened eyes, remained unchanged. Across from him sat a younger man who didn't quite belong. Naruto's expression was calm but taut, as though behind his eye storms were rolling. His cloak was still speckled with dust from the road, and his posture, one leg slung over the other, back reclined just slightly, exuded controlled tension. Neither of them spoke at first. Then Hiruzen broke the silence with a sigh. "How do you find the apartment?" Naruto's lip curled in something that wasn't a smile. "Too quiet, but functional." "You've earned more than just functional." Naruto shrugged. "Functions enough." The words hung for a moment like smoke before Hiruzen's gaze sharpened and his voice lowered. "You didn't come just to discuss living arrangements?" "No," Naruto said simply. He leaned forward slightly. "You saw him, didn't you? The other me?" Hiruzen's brow furrowed. "Yes, 3 months ago. I thought it was a hallucination at first. A child wandering near the training fields alone, wearing that orange jacket. No one else saw him, or rather, they didn't want to. Because you never told them," Naruto said, his voice like a knife through velvet. "You never told the village that he was the son of the fourth Hokage. No protection, no family, just a name and a whisper of demon in his gut." "I did what I thought was safest," Hiruzen said, his voice heavy with old guilt. "For who?" Naruto asked coldly. "For him? Or yourself?" The silence returned, thick and bitter this time. Naruto closed his eyes for a moment, and then slowly opened them, revealing irises flecked with molten gold, sage mode. The natural energy in the room shifted like a breeze passing through a sealed chamber. He turned his gaze toward the floor, as if sensing something deep below them. "He's here," Naruto said. Hiruzen straightened. "What?" "The other Naruto. He's still in the village, underground, far beneath the Foundation training compound. I sensed multiple chakra signatures, Anbu level, most of them. Rotating guard shifts, layers of genjutsu and barrier seals. It's a prison." He paused, his voice tightening. "Danzo took him months ago. Maybe longer. He's been hidden, locked away. That's why no one's seen him. Not even Kakashi or Iruka." Hiruzen's hand slowly clenched into fists atop the desk. "Why would he?" "You already know why," Naruto interrupted, his voice cold. "Danzo's playing God again. Experimenting, trying to build a weapon, or maybe just trying to make sure the demon brat never grows into something that could challenge him." Hiruzen looked away, the weight of years pressing down on him like a chain. "I failed him." "You did," Naruto said without venom. Just truth. "But it's not over yet." He stood, his movements fluid and quiet, the sage energy still humming beneath his skin. "I'm going to get him back. Tonight. I'll move quietly. No explosions. No collateral. You just keep the village calm. Pretend everything's fine. Hiruzen didn't argue. Naruto turned to leave, then paused just before reaching the door. Without turning around, he asked, "When I get to Danzo, do you want him alive?" The silence stretched out like a blade across the whetstone. Then Hiruzen answered, his voice quiet but firm. "You're the 7th Hokage." Naruto turned slightly, his profile silhouetted against the candlelight. "The choice is yours." A beat passed. Naruto nodded once, and then disappeared with a gust of wind. The sun had barely begun to dip behind the Hokage monument when Naruto stood at the edge of the forest, golden eyes glowing faintly with a quiet wrath only a man who had lost everything could understand. He had told Hiruzen he would act today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. Draped in a dark cloak that masked the chakra, the adult Naruto Uzumaki moved like a whisper through the undergrowth outside Konoha civilian sector. His target? The hidden root base, buried deep beneath the training ground 39 area. Most people didn't even know it existed, but he did, and Danzo was inside. Kurama's chakra simmered beneath his skin, tamed but eager. Naruto activated Sage Mode, pupils narrowing into orange rings. And with a slow exhale, he descended into the depths of Root. He didn't waste time. The first 2 Root agents never saw him coming. A flicker of emotion. One had his throat crushed silently by a palm strike. The other's windpipe collapsed with a flick of Naruto's fingers. He caught their bodies mid-fall and set them down, gently. No alarm was triggered. Naruto pressed forward. He knew Danzo's operations well. He had destroyed a Root once in his original future. Hallways were sterile and dark, filled with cold air and the stench of secrets. More guards came, some in pairs, some alone. All fell quickly and quietly. The last chamber was protected by a chakra seal, designed to recognize Danzo's signature. Naruto smiled. With the precision of a surgeon, he formed a Rasengan the size of a pebble and drilled it into the seal's weak point. The barrier flickered and died. Danzo sat inside, standing in front of a large containment cell, muttering to one of his personal guards. Naruto appeared behind him. "You've stolen something that doesn't belong to you," he said, his voice flat. Danzo turned, Sharingan flashing, but it was too late. Naruto's hand blurred, and with the wet crack of a bone tearing of flesh, Danzo's right arm, the one laced with dozens of Sharingan, was crushed, deleted. Every single Sharingan burst at the elbow. Danzo screamed. Before the elder could even activate Izanagi, Naruto plunged 2 fingers into his eye socket and ripped the Sharingan eye free. Blood ran freely down Danzo's face as he fell to his knees, spluttering, trembling. "You don't get to rewrite your death," Naruto muttered. He tied chakra threads around Danzo's body, forcing him upright against a rusted metal support pillar. Reinforced ninja wire tightened around his throat, limbs, and waist. Danzo was conscious, barely. Naruto leaned close. "You'll stay here until tomorrow. Then your judgment comes." He turned toward the containment cell and pressed a hand on the lock. With a pulse of chakra, the cell door hissed open. Inside sat a boy no older than 12. Wild blonde hair, bright blue eyes, cheeks marked with familiar whiskers. He wore a tattered orange jumpsuit, but his posture was guarded, defensive, eyes wary. The younger Naruto blinked in confusion. Who are you?" Adult Naruto stepped forward slowly. "I'm you." Young Naruto's eyes widened. "What?" "I'm you. From another future. One that didn't go so well." The boy stood trembling. This This is all a trick, isn't it? Another one of Danzo's illusions. Naruto crouched and smiled softly. No illusion. You're free now. And I promise, I'll make sure no one ever puts you in a cell again. Tears welled up in the boy's eyes, but didn't fall. He clenched his fists and nodded. Naruto offered him a hand. Come on, let's go home. They arrived at the Hokage's office 15 minutes later. Hiruzen Sarutobi stood at the window, as if he'd been waiting for them the whole time. When he turned, he saw both Narutos. Something in his eyes, age and tired, seemed to lighten. So, it's true, Hiruzen said softly. Naruto nodded. Root had him underground. Danzo was the one who took him. The young Naruto looked up uncertainly at the old man. You knew about me? Hiruzen hesitated, then approached and knelt before the boy. I knew, but I failed to act. I thought by not revealing your heritage, you'd be protected. I see now that I was wrong. Young Naruto stared, unsure. Hiruzen rose and turned to the older Naruto. He'll stay with you and that girl, Yugito. You've proven to be more than capable. I trust your judgment. Naruto gave a single nod. And tomorrow, Hiruzen continued, I will make an announcement. The village will know that Naruto Uzumaki, son of Minato Namikaze, the fourth Hokage, has returned. Young Naruto's knees buckled and he sat down hard. I'm his son? Naruto ruffled his younger self's hair. Yeah, you always were. They just never told you. The boy smiled for the first time. Then Naruto turned back to Hiruzen. I've got one more thing to show you. The walk to the root base was silent, tense. Hiruzen entered with Naruto guiding the way, the old Hokage flanked by two Anbu. The room was just as Naruto had left it. Danzo Shimura, bound and mutilated, hung limply from a pillar, alive but broken. Hiruzen looked at his old comrade for a long time. So, this is your gift. Naruto crossed his arms. He doesn't get to rot in silence. The people deserve to know what he did. I suggest you make the announcement after you reveal Naruto's heritage. A public execution would drive the point home. Hiruzen's jaw tightened, but he nodded. So be it. Naruto walked past him toward the exit. I'm taking the kid home. He needs real food, a warm bed, and a life. Hiruzen called after him. Naruto! The older shinobi paused. Thank you. Naruto didn't smile. He simply vanished in a swirl of wind and leaves. The future, dragging the past back into the light. The morning sun bathed the Hidden Leaf village in golden hue, soft and warm, mocking the storm of revelations that had begun to unravel. From the edge of the Hokage Tower, Hiruzen Sarutobi stood tall in full regalia, his robes fluttering gently in the breeze as he looked down upon the gathering crowd. The third Hokage, once a symbol of quiet strength and peace, now wore the grim weight of consequences on his shoulders. Below, nearly the entire village had assembled, murmuring in hushed speculation, the square brimming with shinobi of all ranks, merchants, civilians, even children too young to understand the gravity of what was about to be said. Anbu were scattered throughout the rooftops, watchful shadows with hands near blades. The air was tense. Standing just a few paces behind Hiruzen, and out of the crowd's view, was adult Naruto and Yugito Ni, both silent as stone. Naruto's cloak rustled faintly, his arms crossed while Yugito stood beside him, her fingers brushing the small of his back. Now and then, though, whether for comfort or grounding herself, she wasn't quite sure. In front of them, gripping the edge of the balcony, was the younger Naruto, cleaned up and clothed in new black and orange outfits. His blonde hair was a little unkempt, and his blue eyes flitted with nerves. The scars of his time in captivity weren't visible on his skin, but they clung tightly to his soul. Hiruzen stepped forward and raised his voice with a surprising calm that carried across the plaza like wind through pine. "Citizens of Konoha, today you witnessed the return of a child this village thought lost. A child many of you knew, but never truly understood." The murmurs grew louder. "You knew him as the boy with no parents, the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails. Some of you treated him poorly, others ignored him completely. But what you did not know was what he kept hidden under layers of secrecy and shame was that this boy is the son of the fourth Hokage, Minato Namikaze, and Kushina Uzumaki." The silence fell so thick even the wind dared not to cut through it. Hiruzen turned his head slightly. "Naruto, come." The younger Naruto stiffened. Yugito placed a hand on his back and gave him a gentle nudge. Behind him, the older Naruto crouched and whispered, "Go on. You're stronger than you think." With trembling steps, the boy walked forward and stood beside Hiruzen. Gasps echoed from the crowd like ripples in water. "He's the son of the fourth?" Someone whispered. "But all those years." "He looks just like him. The hair." "Uzumaki?" The crowd's tone shifted from confusion to collective guilt, a bitter realization blooming behind wide eyes and parted lips. From the shadows behind the podium, Yugito leaned toward adult Naruto and whispered with a teasing glint in her eyes, "Well, I guess this means you and I have to play mommy and daddy now, huh? He needs parents after all." Naruto turned his head slowly, giving her a flat, bemused stare and raising one eyebrow. I don't know if that was a sexual innuendo or if you were being serious. Yugito's composure faltered. A faint blush dusted her cheeks as she turned her head slightly, golden strands catching the sun. "What if I was serious?" Naruto didn't respond, not because he was offended or teasing in return, but because, for a single, unguarded moment, he had to think about it. He'd known Yugito for barely a month. She was strong, unshakable in battle, patient in silence, and now she stood beside him without question, supporting both versions of himself. A week ago, he would have brushed her off, but now, after everything, the warmth of her presence, it was hard to ignore. Still, his thoughts drifted back to her, back to Samui, his wife from that distant, broken timeline. Her voice, her touch, the pain of losing her was still too raw. And yet, here Yugito was, offering something new, unspoken, unforced. He pushed the thought aside for now. His gaze sharpened as movement from below drew his attention. Danzo Shamura stood shackled, surrounded by elite Anbu. His hat was gone, robes dirtied, and the bandage around his arm had been removed, revealing the grotesque truth of his Sharingan-infused experiments. The villagers recoiled, whispers of horror swirling around them like locusts. Hiruzen raised his hand again. "For the crimes of kidnapping the Jinchuriki of the Nine Tails, for concealing the identity of the child of the fourth Hokage, for conducting forbidden experiments, for creating and maintaining an illegal military faction known as Root, Danzo Shimura is hereby sentenced to public execution. Danzo didn't protest. He didn't plead. He only looked up directly at Naruto. His single eye was cold, unrepentant. But beneath it, maybe just for a second, there was a flicker of fear. Naruto didn't smile. He only turned and walked away as the villagers erupted in shocked voices and the ceremony moved towards its grim conclusion. Later that evening, a quiet walk home. The late afternoon sun cast long shadows across the rooftops as the three blondes walked in silence. The village was still murmuring about what had happened. Some people watched the trio from windows and porches as they passed. No one threw insults this time. No glares, just stunned expressions and a few bowed heads. Naruto had his hands in his pockets, head tilted slightly back to feel the sun on his face. Yugito walked beside him, her arms crossed loosely, while the younger Naruto walked between them, holding an apple he'd been given by an old vendor woman who kept crying and mumbling apologies. For once, the silence was peaceful. Then Naruto chuckled, softly at first, but with growing amusement. Yugito shot him a puzzled look. "What's so funny?" He grinned. "We all have blonde hair." She blinked. "Okay." He stopped walking for a moment and looked at both her and the boy. "Think about it. You, me, him, walking side by side like this. We actually look like a real family. Father, mother, and son." Yugito's eyes widened as her face turned bright pink. I was not thinking of it like that," she said quickly, trying to keep her voice level. "But now that you mention it." Naruto laughed again and resumed walking. Yugito glared at his back, cheeks still hot. "You're enjoying this way too much." "Maybe," Naruto admitted, a smirk tugging at the corner of his lips. "But hey, if people start assuming it, maybe it'll make his life easier." The boy looked up between them. "So, you're my mom and dad now?" Naruto slowed down and exchanged a look with Yugito. She seemed stunned for a moment, then lowered herself to his eye level. "We're not replacing anyone," she said gently. "But if you'll let us, we'd like to be here for you. For real." The boy smiled, a real, warm smile. One Naruto hadn't seen on himself in years. "Okay." As they reached their apartment and stepped inside, Naruto glanced back at the village behind them. A new chapter had begun. Not one of war, not of vengeance, but maybe, just maybe, a family. But guys, I'm going to end it off right there. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe while you're at it. Remember, the like goal for the video is 5 likes. So, hit that like button. But without further ado, I am out, and I will see you guys in the next video. Stay blessed, y'all.